Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way to support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Like I said there, if you would subscribe to the show, please subscribe to the show. Hit the like button from in the way in here. The best way you can support this channel. Really appreciate that. Welcome on back into The Real. Feels like a funeral tonight. I'm not going to lie. That's why I got the all black shades on as the Browns lose again to the Las Vegas Raiders, 16-20 today in Vegas. We got a lot to get into tonight. Browns are now 1-3 on the season. It's not looking great. Not the start you need, especially with the schedule coming up. This is supposed to be the easier part of their schedule, and it is not going well for them so far this year. A lot to get into tonight. Real quick on the game, though, itself, my quick recap is, before I bring the guys up here, let them talk, but mainly tonight I'll be in the back just kind of hosting everything, is the first drive was great. Seven rushes for 8 passes. Everything looked good. Deshaun looked good. I thought where stuff started to kind of go sideways, though, in the game was defensively. They don't look as good this year. The coverage is not as great. Newsome and Martin Emerson did not look as good. The linebackers don't look as good. And I thought they abandoned the run again in this game. I thought they abandoned the run tonight in the second quarter, especially. I thought the fourth quarter ran the ball more, but I thought they abandoned the run in the second and threw the ball more 3-and-outs. And then as the game went on in the second half, they hung in there. Vegas struck back, but Dustin Hopkins missed the PAT, which was big. And I thought the bad call on Harris, which would have been a touchdown, the holding call on the center Harris, I thought that was a big play in the game. I thought that was a bad call by the referees. I thought they gated a touchdown. But like Myles Garrett said after the game, you can't put yourself in those situations where those calls dictate the game. I think the Browns right now just kind of look like a dysfunctional team. They don't look like a very organized team. They look out of shape. They look unprepared. Guys dropping passes like Amari Cooper. DeJuan Jones looks very out of shape, looks 30 pounds heavier. Bad tackling, bad penalties at times. It just looks like a bad culture right now. And that's just my opinion. I'm curious to everybody else's opinion. Just from my perspective right now, it just looks like a bad culture, a bad team, just a bad that. And I like Kevin Stefanski in a lot of ways, but I think this year so far he hasn't had a great start. And I just think it has not meshed well with him and Deshaun. I think their personalities are different. I think their styles and approach are different, which is why it hasn't fully meshed yet. And I don't think it will, because I just don't think they don't mesh. And I don't think the team's not meshing. There's just something seems very off with this team this year. And I think you have to look internally. It's like the great John McKissick said: coaches win, players win games, coaches lose them. And I think right now the organization's losing a lot of games. To be honest with you, just from top to bottom. And I think Deshaun Watson played good enough today for them to win. I thought he played his best game of the season. The others and the people around him let him down today. That's my opinion. I thought he played good enough to win. I thought the others let him down today, and that includes the front office and the ownership and everybody in the organization. And so, not a lot to say. It's kind of just, there's not much more to say, really, from my perspective. But let's see what the other guys have to say tonight. So, without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Antonace joins the show. Mike, welcome on in.
Hello, beautiful people.
We got Jersey in the house. And we got my man, Joey DiBiasio's back in the house. Joey, welcome on back in. Appreciate you coming in, brother.
Glad to be here.
That's a solid beard you got going, bro. I like that. I like that shit. It's like a goatee, but not. Oh, look at them teeth, too. Got some nice teeth. I wish I had nice teeth. That's why I don't go on camera. It's because my teeth are all messed up.
Oh, stop, Mike.
What does that say? Mike, what does that
I'm going to guess Stefanski didn't upgrade the team's play calling after we got found out in the playoffs. Well, thank you for the comment, DJ Brobot Robot Face. I like your little handle there. Actually, if to answer your question, at least my opinion, Sir Brobot, I didn't think play calling was the issue today at all. I thought execution absolutely was the issue, and the injuries on the offensive line are starting to show in a bad way. Joel was already shown his age last year, and it's not getting any better. Ethan Posich goes out, tries to come back in, can't go. Nick Harris obviously comes in, isn't great. Zach Zenner continues to look like a great pick, though, so that's good.
Besides the last play, but yeah.
But James Hudson, he's bad. We all know he's top 10. I think he was currently, as of last week, giving up the 5th most pressures in all the NFL. I'm sure that's higher after today. And Dwan Jones has been a Walmart greeter all year, just letting people in. So I agree. Stefanski could have been better. I mean, everybody could have been better, but honestly, I'm not going to. I don't know how much play calling could have fixed today. I honestly don't. I think it's a player personnel issue.
That kind of goes hand in hand in a way. It starts with your head coach on the sideline, starts with your front office. This team did not upgrade its offense this offseason. The whole Ken Dorsey thing thus far looks like a sham. There is no new offense.
Like
it doesn't look. I mean, it's
a new offense. It's just not working.
Yeah, well, you don't bring in somebody new, in my opinion, to call their plays. That's like if you were a cook at Luigi's Pizza Italian restaurant, and one night you get thrown into Poncho and Lefties, and you try cooking their food when you've always been cooking Italian food, and you're at a Mexican restaurant with no training. They throw you back there and say, "All right, do something with it." You're not gonna be able to know how to cook that food. It's different flavors, different spices, different ingredients, different culture, and we have a coach right now that's a play caller that's trying to call. Who was a cook at Luigi's, and now he's trying to call plays that he's trying to fucking cook at. Excuse me, I see you guys get me fired up already. He's trying to cook at Poncho and Lefties. And
I mean, at this point,
it's just basic. I mean, it's basic fundamental football, and I just can't. I don't know.
At this point, I'd be all for them just going back to basics and running back Stefanski's offense because if you look at the numbers. Like Deshaun, even though that's maybe not his favorite offense, he was much better last year. With Stefanski's whole Kubiak style offense over this spread offense that they're running. But I guess if I want to give my quick opinion of it.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. My bad.
No, you're cool. I really don't even know if you can blame one guy. I don't really think you can. Should have Stefanski coached a better game throughout the entire game? Sure. Should have Jim Schwartz coached a better game throughout the entire game? Sure. But, you can't, I understand Jordan Hicks went out early. I understand he's a big part of your run defense, but, injuries happen. You can't give up that many yards through the gut, 150 yards rushing to the worst rushing offense in the league up until this point. You can't do that. This team still struggles to play zone defense, even though, you have to play some. Schwartz has tried to work it in for whatever reason. Our corners, our DBs just cannot play zone to save their damn life. And I do not know what the issue is. Amari Cooper, obviously, he had that huge catch he could have made that was bobbled and then, got picked off. Then the very net that turns into a touchdown for Las Vegas. The very next offensive sequence, he gets called for an illegal formation that wipes off a first down as well. Amari Cooper hasn't been great. But I don't know.
He looks like glue factory at times. I hate to say it.
At times, but like there are times
Then
like
he has
that.
spurts. Well, he had that touchdown robbed. I'm not gonna. That touchdown. Was
Yeah, no,
robbed.
that was a bad call. That was
bad.
but I agree with what you said and what Miles said. Well, I agree with the quote that Miles said.
Can't put yourself in that predicament.
Yeah, you can't allow the refs to dictate that. You can't.
Exactly.
And I agree with that sentiment. Does it suck? Do I think that was a holding call? No, I don't think it. The announcers certainly didn't think that was a holding call either. So, I mean, but again, you can't leave it up to the refs. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know who to even put the blame on. I mean, like Deshaun played like I agree. I think that was his best game so far this season. He looked a lot more comfortable, and in pass pro for the most part, we were good enough. And we, even though we're the most penalized team in the league, we actually didn't have all that many penalties. The penalties just came at the worst possible times. Did you notice that, Joseph? Like, we didn't have a lot of penalties today. The penalties were just at pivotal moments, which just sucked.
Well, again, it's. I got to put a lot on the coach because I expect him to get this. It's his job to keep the team organized. It's his job to keep them in flow. It's his job to make sure. Like when you said guys are coming in, yeah, you're gonna have injuries. That's football, but it's the coaching staff's job to get them prepared, to get them ready to go. They don't look prepared when they come in. They don't look ready to go. They look unprepared. And that's not just Kevin; it's the whole staff. You know what I mean? It's not a good coaching outing so far this season. Andy Dickerson, I don't know what. Okay, I need to slow down. I'm gonna say the F word again. I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry.
Don't get demonetized.
I'm a Christian. I'm trying not to do that. Okay, but Andy Dickerson, dog. I don't know what is wrong. This offensive line looks so bad.
I just think we got bad players, bro. Outside of like Zach, outside of like Joel, I don't think our players are good right now.
They had the same because they're not being coached properly. I play in trenches. They look soft up front. There's no grit. There's no grind. When Bill Callahan was here, those dudes were in shape. A la DeJuan Jones. Those dudes were ready to go. It didn't matter who we threw in. We threw in guys off the street with Bill Callahan.
I agree. But look at it.
And here, I didn't think it would be that big of a problem when Callahan left because I thought these guys would be professionals and I thought they would learn. Usually, when you play for a guy like that, you take that stuff with you. But that culture is so soft right now. It's so lethargic. It's clearly has because there's no accountability with these guys. I mean, it looks bad. Like I was even at the high school level. I'm at the Hoban game the other night, and when Hoban's already up, and when the JV guys came in and shout out to Easy Cribs, Josh Cribs, his son was a quarterback. His freshman looks really good too. The O line was struggling a little bit, and they couldn't really move the ball. But guess what? Even when they were up still big, the O-line coaches are on the sideline cussing out, like lighting into those O-linemen going, we're going to score an effing 6 points right here. That's unacceptable. You guys are better than that. Like, you have to coach them differently. They just don't look like they're being coached properly this year, the O-line. They don't look prepared. They look very unorganized. Their splits are bad. They miss assignments all the time in the scheme and the simple zone running scheme. Like today, the first drive, homeboy runs right off the edge. And even the announcer was like, how do you run a zone running scheme and miss the edge? How do you not seal the edge? It just looks very lethargic and unprepared. Sorry for my rant, but go ahead.
No, you're fine. And again, I think we just don't have very good players right now. I really don't. And to your point, I agree. When Callahan was here and when Stefanski's offense was implemented, it was a lot better. But because of the Kubiak system naturally has heavier personnel, the offensive line had more help. You would have more tight end sets. You would have more running backs on the field all the time.
Well, could it be too that this personnel fit that system more because they were drafted and brought in that system?
Oh, absolutely. Wyatt Teller, for example.
Right. And now you're trying to put them in something they're not used to.
Yeah.
100%.
No, I agree with that. I think that's a huge part of it because Wyatt Teller, one of the best run blockers probably in the NFL.
Right.
As a pass protector, always been not like he's not horrible, but he's like league average in pass pro.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 50. I agree with that.
So like it's another thing. They had more help in Stefanski's old offense. I think it's a huge personnel issue. Obviously we're gonna get some reinforcements hopefully next week. If Jack comes back, I like DeWand. I think he's going to be good. And he didn't. he needs
Man,
to get back in shape. He needs to learn better. As soon as Jack is healthy, you got to throw Jack back out there. Because like, I'm sick of like every time I see a right end run a fucking. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
everybody's
Whoopsie.
fired up tonight. Hey, folks, you're gonna hear some wild stuff tonight. Just embrace
I'm
yourself.
sorry. I'm sorry, YouTube.
Maybe not from DDI.
Don't demonetize Joseph.
Maybe not from you, Joey. You're a good kid. But
if I see another right end run a twist or a stunt and like Dewan just can't pick it up,
yeah, we
I'm
can't
gonna
even
lose my
block
mind.
simple twists. I mean, I blocked that in high school. I learned how to block. I mean, it's like basic stuff we cannot.
Granted,
do right
that
now.
offensive line has always struggled with that, even when Callahan was here, and I don't know why.
It wasn't as bad. Not in Baker's.
Not as bad, but we've always struggled
with Baker. When Baker was playing well, and they had a good system with Chubb and Hunt. That offensive line was the best in the league by far. It's been a steep decline since then. I mean,
that was. Joel was 4 years younger. We had a in shape Treader, younger Wyatt. Jack was younger. Jed was still decent. Like, you know, I really think this O-line, I don't think this O-line needs like a hard rebuild by any means, but like we need to definitely draft it's getting close.
It's getting close.
Tackle is definitely a big need this upcoming draft.
It's the number one.
I feel like I've talked so much. Everybody else, feel free to give your opinion.
Sorry, we're ranting.
I'm sorry, me and Joseph just go back and forth.
Everybody's fired up.
Got a lot to get off my chest.
All right. So if you want to shore up your pass protection, that's the number one thing you need. Obviously, the left tackle.
Right.
And they need to get a good left tackle in there.
And, call Bakhtiari right now. It ain't gonna kill you.
And that's another thing that they're doing.
Oh, I checked on that.
Your O-line, I said this to a bunch of people. They're in pass protection 75% of the time. I don't care which O-line it is, what team. If you're in 75, you're in pass protection, it's stressful. You start to break down. You start to have issues. No O-line can do that. You got to be 50-50 because you're just running your assignment then on run blocking. So it's just here. Stefanski, the one thing he did good today was he called some plays that allowed Watson to get in rhythm. I didn't get to see the first half, but I know at one point I think it was 10 for 10. So the plays coming in were allowing him to establish a rhythm and get rolling. So, I don't. Third quarter, I think that was, Bud, we were watching, and that we got pinned down to our 3-yard line on that punt. I mean, we're calling a pass play.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why in the hell are we calling a pass play out of the end zone? You know what I mean? Run the ball. I just don't. I know you don't have your number one back. I don't care. Run your ball. Stress. Put the stress on the defensive line. You know what I mean?
Ford's not a bad running back. I know if people may think he is in Cleveland. I watched him all 4 years in Cincinnati. You've seen it in flashes today, even and throughout his career. He's not a bad running back. Just guys have to get warmed up. You got to keep guys.
Yeah, you got to stick to it. You can't just deviate away from it. You got to go to it. You got to believe in it. You got to stick with it. It's all of a sudden they get a couple of plays to get stuffed and they go away from it. You can't do that. Look at Baltimore right now. This is how an offense should run, but it's based on they run the football first, which is what you should be doing in that division. Look at the two teams that are successful, Steelers and Baltimore. What do? They run the shit out of the ball. You know what I mean?
How do you get it online to play better? You allow them to impose their will. How do you impose your will
right.
in the running game?
How many times? You're correct. And how many times who wins games? When you got grudge matches, O-lines win the game. O-line, they start to dominate the defensive line. You know what I mean? We just don't give our guys a chance. And again, you just can't put them in pass protection 75% of the time.
Here's the last play of the game, too. You see Jerry Jeudy's wide open at the top, but Deshaun has no time because the interior is getting blown up.
Can't set his feet, yeah.
Can't set his feet. He don't have time to read the field.
I saw people already freeze framing this, and I'm like, dude, come on. Come on. Here, I was critical of Deshaun, and Joseph will tell you this. I was critical of Deshaun the past couple weeks, but this game isn't on him. He can't set his goddamn feet. He can't throw the ball.
Those are probably the same people that said he should throw the ball to the left right there when that guy.
You know what today was? Today was a reflection of the Cleveland Browns, what they really are. That today. It's never been Watson. It's dysfunction.
And it may not all be Stefanski either.
I
don't think
agree.
it is.
I agree.
really don't think it
There's
is.
I'm saying
I don't-
I think both of them are kind of victims in some way.
these
to
these
the hire.
players, they're not being coached well during the week. They're not being coached well in the off season, and that's why there's execution issues on game day. It's the lack of coaching during the week. They're not being prepared properly. They're not being disciplined. Frankly, I don't think they know who the hell their leader is. There's no identity. There is some serious structural issues within the Cleveland Browns. I don't blame the players. We got good players. I mean, we got some pretty good players. There is structure issues, and I don't know if it starts with the Haslams, Di Podesta. Either way, the Haslams need to figure this shit out. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It's the other thing I'm tired of seeing is, Joseph, you mentioned earlier. This goes back to our conversation we had earlier. I just believe you got to have a quarterback and a head coach that have the same mentality. Everyone knows Watson's a dog. Okay, he is a dog. Okay, Stefanski's not a dog.
Baker was a dog. Deshaun's a dog.
Right. Most football players are dogs. Okay. And now, if you got a quarterback that's not, okay, you can have a coach that's really not. Stefanski's not a dog. The dude just stands there and has no emotion. These are football players, man. These guys are emotional. It's combat. I mean, and I don't care whether it's football or any industry. The employee, call them players or employees, they take on the mentality of their leaders. Okay. So, Mike, you can go back, think about what we did, our first employer that we worked together. We had a tremendous leader. You know what I mean? We had a leader and we all followed behind him. Nobody wanted to win more than Brett. We all followed behind him.
He was his style was he was a killer.
We had an identity there. It was dominate, and we did it for each other. But we were all led. Everyone knew there was organizational structure. You know what I mean? And we executed. So, and that's how we achieved our goals. So, again, I don't blame the players, and like I said, I don't necessarily blame Stefanski entirely. I just don't know if he should be a head coach. I just don't think an NFL head coach, right? Any football coach should be standing on the sideline with his hand on his chin for 3 hours, no matter what's going on. Horrible execution out there, stupid ass penalties, and you just keep standing there like you're up 40.
Well, you know what it is? It's you're trying to be the head coach and the play caller, and it's like I've said on the show for last year. That's not for everybody. And I think at times he could do it with his old system because he had 16 years of experience in that system in Minnesota. But it only gets you so far. And I think he made the right move in trying to fix the offense this offseason, but he didn't go all the way with it. You know what I mean? He didn't let this guy, in my opinion, take over. You got to let that guy call the plays in the system.
Hey, man,
Look at Ryan Day right now with Chip Kelly. He gave up the play calling. He looks like he lost weight. He looks healthier. Yeah. And that offense and that team looks way better. And they've looked in the last, I think, since Urban Meyer was here in 15 with the 15 team.
And maybe, and who knows? Maybe Stefanski's just as frustrated as we are. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure he is. I don't think he's
I don't know. I can tell you who I know for certain needs to go is this Di Podesta idiot. Get this guy the hell out of here. He's not a football guy. We got a guy that's not a football guy literally running the team, telling Stefanski played football at least. Okay, all these guys, these coaches, you got a guy that's never even played football that became known for freaking what he did with the Oakland Athletics payroll.
That did win a championship. Go ahead.
This is who's running one of the most historic football teams that's supposed to be turning this team around. This is who's doing it, all the way from San Diego, California. That's how much he cares. I mean, this shit's crazy. I mean, I'm just getting tired of it. I don't even know. I can't be the only one. I mean, I'm just so fed up with this is what's put out for us every week. We try to be loyal to it. I'm just tired of it. You know what I mean? It's to the point where I'm actually thinking about starting to just follow a different team. It's pathetic. I really think I'm watching that game today. I watched 3 football teams last night that I think could beat the Browns: Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama. I really believe it.
Well,
Yeah, I really believe it.
they can, but
The Browns are that shitty and that disorganized and that undisciplined. At least those teams all have identities. I mean, so either way, but yeah,
Raiders 75-28. You guys should cherish who you have at wide receiver. My former teammate Trey Tucker balled out today. Shout out to Trey, got a touchdown. He's having a great season, so it was good. I
wanted us to win too, Raiders 75-28.
Yeah, Mike really want us to win, but I was kind of torn today because when he scored, I had to kind of root for him a little bit, but I am a Browns fan. But shout out to you, Trey. Keep killing it, brother.
Thank you for the comment, by the way,
yeah.
Mr.
Shout out to Paris Campbell who scored a touchdown. I only got to shout those 2 guys out because I was part of with Coach Aguirre, Speed for Sports family out there at Copley High School. Shout out to Coach Aguirre. I'm sure he was thrilled today to see his guys scoring and getting stuff done. But Joey, sorry for the long wait, brother.
Yeah, Joey's just there.
I appreciate your patience, Joe. We got one more guy in the back. My bread up here as soon as you're done, but I appreciate your patience. I'm sorry, but
no, you're fine, man. Hey,
I'll let you have you can have the full screen, Joey. Just take it from here, brother.
Oh,
it's all you, babe.
Well, as a Browns fan, you got to be patient, So, as the great Sam Cooke said, a change is gonna come, and I think you guys hit the nail on the head here. I mean, there is just so much dysfunction going on. They have such a lack for leadership, which I know you guys touched upon. There's no identity. These guys, there's no heart. It just seems like these guys are just going through the motions. And it starts at the top. It starts with the Haslams and then T. Podesta and Barry and then Stefanski and then the captains on the team. I mean, this is a Raiders team that is missing their 2 best players, and we should be blowing this team out. The Raiders are not a good team. They have a starting quarterback that isn't even paid in comparison to what Watson is. I don't think it's a player issue. I think we have good players. You guys touched on it. I think it's mainly a coaching issue. They are just not coached well enough during the week to be prepared for this game. You think they would have a sense of urgency going into this game after losing last week, but just too many mistakes, too many bad play calls. I thought the defense, didn't play that well, to be honest with you. I thought it wasn't like previous weeks where they were on the field a lot. I actually thought Watson did play solid, but I think from a leadership standpoint, from the top down the organization, there's just a major issue there, and that needs to be addressed.
Bravo, Joey.
Thank you.
We get you off full screen here. Okay. I totally agree with you 100%. I think you nailed it right on the head. I think it's just they don't mesh together. The quarterback, the coach, all these pieces. There's just too many different ingredients in the organization. I don't think there's alignment, which is something they preach when they hired all these guys. There was alignment. And this, in my opinion, Mike, you can answer this. I know you're more you like these. Well, I don't say you like these guys, but I know you're more pro Stefanski. Maybe some on the panel, but and I'm not banging on Stefanski at all. I actually like Kevin a lot of ways. I think he seems like a cool dude, but I just think I'm starting to wonder if there's something bigger. It's like when I showed you on the show the other day, Mike. I'm gonna pull it back up. I think, or that article that came out back 2 years ago, how Jimmy Haslam wanted more of an air raid offense. Kevin's offense is working more. Hold on one sec. I'll let you take it from here. I'll let you get it off. How Kevin's offense, was working well enough at that time. Baker Mayfield. They just got rid of Baker at that time. They brought in Deshaun, and now you see we want more of an air raid offense, which I get it. You want, but if your you can't force your head coach to do something he's not maybe doesn't want to do or he's not comfortable doing. And then when he does make the change, he's trying to call the plays of something he hasn't really called before. It's like I said earlier, he was a cook at Luigi's. Now he's trying to cook at an Italian restaurant. Now he's trying to go cook at a Mexican restaurant with no training. It just doesn't mesh. It doesn't mend well. I'm really, as many coaches we've gone through, as many quarterbacks as we've gone through, that says a lot to the people above the head coach and the quarterback, in my opinion. When you go through this many head coaches and you go through this many quarterbacks, there's something bigger going on. It's beyond them at some point. And I think that's what bad organizations do. The people that, Haslam spends the money. I love it. I'm glad he's committed to that. And it's great. But I think if, we get on the Dolans about not spending money, but at least the Dolans do it the right way in the most important part, which is the structure of the organization. They hire the guys and they let them do it. Yeah, could they spend more? Yeah, it'd be nice. But I think if Haslam could find that healthy balance, man, he'd have a juggernaut. He'd have a great organization. But he can't. I don't think it's happened. I don't think he's found that balance, and history is going to keep repeating itself. But go ahead, Mike.
Well, as far as I know, and as far as everybody I've talked to, close to the organization, Jimmy Haslam's pretty hands off at this point. He's more involved with the Columbus Crew at this point than he is the Cleveland Browns. What we're seeing though is I do think that the hiring of Ken Dorsey to bring in as a glorified pass game coordinator was to try and build something around. Oh, by the way, hi Joy. But I do think the hiring of Ken Dorsey was to try and appease Deshaun. And I'll agree with you. I don't think, maybe Kevin here. I either way, like I said, even before the season, I really didn't think it was a big issue. Whoever was calling the plays, I really don't think that's the issue. I wouldn't have actually liked it if Ken Dorsey was chosen to call plays. This is the guy that was fired from Buffalo, and Buffalo instantaneously got better after he was fired. So I was never a fan of him getting handed the play calling if that was the case. His pass game was fine, his pass game concepts, but as far as the Haslam stuff, I really think he's not really involved as far as making like actual player coaching decisions. Like the most he does is sign checks anymore. From everything I've heard, from everything I've been told, from everybody I talk to that does it far more professionally than I do, is Haslam is basically just a signature you see on your bank check at the end of the week anymore. The issue that I think we're running into is, again, maybe this offense wasn't the best offense. Maybe Ken Dorsey wasn't the best hire to fix your pass game. Maybe I agree with what you said earlier, Joseph. I think maybe we're not meshing right at the moment with, personnel to philosophy. It's a myriad of things, but
we lack a lot of speed too in our perimeter when it comes.
We do, and I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Trey, I wish you can come over here, dude. My gosh.
But yeah, no, it's a myriad of things. But just to answer your question, I everything I've been told and from what I know is Haslam is legitimately as hands off as you can be as an NFL owner. He'll show up to a couple home games from what I've heard. He'll show up to the draft, clap with the general manager and Stefanski at the draft, but that's it. He's basically got his ass firmly seated in Columbus watching the MLS games.
I get it, but his son-in-law is heavily involved, and he has a big. What's his name? What's homeboy's name? His son-in-law, tall dude. JD. What's his name? JW. What JW? What's his name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's the vice president.
Yeah, he's
one of the vice presidents of the Browns. He's right there with Catherine Ricci, who has the same job.
JW Johnson, I believe that's his name. He's heavily involved, and you got Dee Podesta here. He's got more power than I think people think in the organization. He came to the Haslams in 2016 when stuff was going south. They were trying to find direction. I think DePodesta's smart. He found an opportunity, and I think he got people to buy in on his system, which he's done before in the past. But I think his system works more in baseball because I think that fits that sport more. And I'm not anti-analytics. I think it's good information. I think it's good to have a good analytical department. But he just has way too much influence where he goes,
So
and it shows. And people
with
could say otherwise. I get it, but I'm sorry. What I see on the field is habit of it. I just see it.
I know we're trying to look for scapegoats, and believe me, I do all the time.
No, I'm not saying
DePodesta,
a scapegoat. I'm just saying what I see on the field looks like an analytic. It looks like analytics a lot of times
really, I just think it's just bad football.
because
DePodesta,
there's other teams, good rain organizations that use analytics, but they look more like they run the ball. They do certain like it's just I don't know, man. It just looks off. And they even said it. I mean, when Stefanski got hired, you got the owner looking over the play over the he reviews the game plan every week, and then they got a probability guy in his earpiece. I mean, it's like, what the hell? I mean, what? Anybody, Dad? I want Chris to get it up. Chris is in the house now. Welcome, Chris. I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike. You can finish up your point, but Mike or Dad, you guys want to add something to that?
I was just going to add that as far as DePodesta, like he doesn't really hold any on-field power at the moment. Like what they use him for, if anything, is who to pay, who not to pay, and then they use him heavily for the draft. But as far as like on-field stuff, I mean, he is the head of analytics, so like, yeah, he helps with that department, but every office has an analytic department, and
No, I agree, and I
it's
say you
mainly for like
you should
trade
have
free agency.
I just think he has more influence
He's
than people think. That's just my
he's not the head of analytics. He is analytics. That's all he is. He's nothing more than an analytical person. And he also has tremendous power because those are his two guys, his GM and his coach that he wanted. Those are his guys. So he has tremendous input. And you can't have a guy like that running the team. You can't have
and the coaching-
JW, whoever the hell he is, just because he's married to your daughter, running the team. We need someone that is actually qualified to run an NFL football team from top to bottom. That's what they need. They need a real president of football operations that actually understands the mindset of a football player, the mindset of an assistant coach, the mindset of every person out there, equipment guys, everything. Somebody that's worked all the way through and made it and has been and done a very good job and earned that position. That's who the hell should be running the Cleveland Browns. And that's why we're shit, because we don't have someone that does that. We got an analytics goon sitting up in an office, if he's even there, running the show. And look at the results we're getting.
Well, and I have seen some minor changes. There's a slight little hire that was made last year. I think that people underrated, which was Bob Quinn getting hired as the coaching executive. Ever since Bob Quinn got hired, there's been some changes on that coaching staff, obviously. So I'm really curious to see where that goes moving forward. What's Allison Tuckwab? I don't know if I said that right. I'm sorry, Allison. I'll just call you Allison. Way Hackett got fired from the Broncos. She said that's why Hackett got fired from the Broncos. Yeah, probably. And I think too the Broncos that was a bad situation too.
The whole reason Hackett even got hired at the Broncos because they thought they were going to get A-Rod, and that never happened. And I think Hackett. I mean, Mr. Hackett didn't have a great day today, but
he's had many good days.
No, he hasn't. But here, Hackett A-Rod loves Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know why. I still don't know why. Maybe he's a great DMT buddy or whatever A-Rod's into any given week. I hope we don't get demonetized for that. But
allegedly
DMT.
Allegedly, I think I snapped. But go ahead.
Yeah, there we go. Alleged. But I think Nathaniel Hackett was he got fired because he was just he's not a head coach.
He just ain't the move.
He missed the vibe check.
Gerg,
and thank you for the comment.
Gerg, you there?
What up?
What up, bro? Gergs, I'll let you. Excuse me. I'll let you have the floor, Gergs. What was your take on the game? Did any been patiently waiting on our conversation or listen to our conversation in the back? Appreciate your patience. And Gergs, I'll let you get off. Joe, you can respond to him when he's done.
Well, I mean, it started off good, 10-0. They were running the ball. There was balance. It looked like things were changing. Then you go out for your third possession and you drop back 3 straight times. And guess what you do? You get behind the chains. A lot of people don't understand this. And I just don't know why Stefanski doesn't. But when you drop back to pass 3 straight times, you're never getting ahead of your chains. Run the football. It just worked 2 straight possessions. You got points, but you're not. You try to get cute, and then you go away from it.
Yeah, we get behind schedule a lot.
Then halftime, you got a kicker that just drilled a 50-yarder. Looked like it would have been good from 60, and you punt the ball with under a minute left in the second half, or in the first half. Have no idea why you don't kick the field goal there. Those points matter. I just don't get why they don't try a field goal there. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Analytics.
What?
Analytics said no.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, he just kicked a deep one and it was perfect. I mean, it just makes no sense. Then fast forward to the fourth quarter, you're behind, and then next thing, yeah, exactly. Then the next thing you know, you run the ball. Jerome Ford breaks out that run, and you come back out of the timeout, and you drop back 3 straight times. Why not put the pressure on? You have them by the throat. You're in kick territory. By the way, if you'd have kicked the field goal, guess what? Another field goal would have just won the game. You're not down 4 at that point. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. It just doesn't make sense. And then on 4th and 3, you call a timeout when in reality, if you run the play and don't get it, you can call 3 straight timeouts and get the ball back for one last prayer. But you burn the timeout on 4th and 3 trying to get him to jump off. The only team in the NFL right now that would jump off
The
that
Browns.
is the undisciplined
The
Cleveland Browns.
most penalized team in the league.
It just doesn't. There's just so many things you can point to throughout the game that you just think to yourself, what is this? I don't get the field goal. I don't get the no field goal. I don't get the punting. I just don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me. I just don't. I don't know. There's just so many things that I've just looked at for the last 2 weeks. I mean, you guys, they literally just lost to the Giants and Raiders in back-to-back weeks. I don't know how bad it can get. And if you think you're rolling into town and having beating the Commanders, good luck next week, because it might get ugly. It might get out of hand quick. You haven't scored over 20 points. I don't know if if they've even had over 300 yards of offense. Who does that fall on? At the end of the day, 4 games through the season, it has to fall on someone. And you can't say it's Dorsey, because he's not running, he's not calling the plays. So who is that pinned on?
You gonna pin it on the guy that played his 16th game today in 3 years?
Who looked good, and opposite of him running the ball and getting out of the pressure, it would have been even more ugly. Imagine if you didn't have if you had a true pocket passer.
If we had Baker
like
Mayfield
Flacco
back,
in there,
what we used to have back there today, what would we have? Probably 10 sacks.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on Baker. Baker's playing well down at Tampa because they're utilizing him well. But I'm just saying, if we had Baker back there today, what we used to have. Remember that Steelers game, his last game as a Brown? He got hit like 9 times that night.
Concrete shoes.
Yeah, he would any true pocket passer, they would have been sacked 10 times today. I mean, it's just it's amazing to me how it's instantly Watson, when in reality Watson made a lot of things happen today and got out of a lot of bad situations. And again, it is what it is. But something's not working. You have way too much of a talented roster to
Well, not
be
only
1-3
that, Chris,
right now and looking as bad as they are.
And not only that, Chris, I hear people say all the time. I hear some people, prominent people in the media, saying after games and stuff, well, great quarterbacks overcome bad offensive lines. And I'm thinking in my head, I get what they're trying to say, although I think some just really don't like Watson personally. Honestly, if I'm being honest, but the the game of football is a team. It's the ultimate team sport, and you guys know this. Chris, you watch your son play sport every week. You see it. That's the most purest form of football. Is right there at that level. You know what I mean? You're teaching them fundamentals and how teamwork and how all the pieces connect together. If Jace's quarterback dropped back, in the gun and the whole line's not blocking consistently, keeps getting hit, that's just basic football. I don't know. I mean, you want this guy to go out there?
That?
People say it all the time. I mean, they want this because they think these are the people that think people like, why they thought Caleb Williams was going to be the next Joe Montana or because they can make acrobatic throws and Mahomes. Everybody wants the next Mahomes. Well, there's only one Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. He can make those kind of throws, but Andy Reid actually puts him in a lot of positions to make easy throws. If you watch the Chiefs closely, Mahomes isn't every play scrambling out, launching it, like acting crazy. He makes a lot of easy completions because Andy Reid knows how to put the right pass protections up there. They're coached properly up front. They draft well up front as well. The people that say that great quarterbacks overcome, what's he supposed to do? What better could he have done right here on this play? Somebody hit the comment right now. All these people the keyboard warriors that will be in full effect tonight and all over tomorrow. What the hell is he supposed to do right here?
Yeah. It makes
there's no quarterback that would ever agree with that. That is the dumbest thing. If for anybody to say that, they don't even understand football. Because you can have a great offensive line that makes a mediocre quarterback look good. You know what I mean? You can't have a bad offensive line and have a productive quarterback. It's never happened. Ever.
No, it's never happened. Here, growing up, my quarterbacks were Zach and Keandre. Both of them. I know Zach for sure. I know Keandre went to the Manning Passing Academy. Zach went for Jim Ballard, one of the best coaches in the area. Coaches a lot of top guys. But the one thing we always emphasize is what? It don't matter if the O-line's shitty. If we don't block, Zach ain't got time to set his feet. Keandre can't set his feet.
It all starts.
My coach in high school, Dan Larum. Some people say he's the greatest quarterback in Ohio history at Walsh. Led him all the way to the shout out to Coach Larum. Yeah, he can coach quarterback position well. He had guys like Connor Cook make it to the league, but guess what? If your O-line don't play well, like we learned when I was there, if your trenches are bad, it don't matter. No. It don't matter. You can't expect that if your quarterback's gonna go back to play heroics all day, you're a bad team to begin with. You're not gonna win shit.
No, never gonna happen.
Deshaun Watson did that in 2020. Yeah, he threw for 4,000 yards. He did a lot of crazy things that year. They were still a 4-12 team.
They're definitely missing Callahan. They are 100%.
Because even a guy like Mahomes that does the things that he does, they still run the ball a lot. They run it enough. You know what I mean? So the offensive line is doing what it's supposed to do. They run it enough to keep the defense honest. You know what I mean? Because if that's the theory, then you can just say, okay, let's just fucking run 60 pass plays a game. We're never going to run the ball. As a matter of fact, we're going to cut all of our running backs.
That's my point. That's
the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And anyone who says that and believes that is an absolute idiot.
And I named two guys that we learned from growing up. Guess what? They could tell their quarterback do anything, but if the O-line's not blocking, guess who they're going to yell at first? Guess who? When I was playing center, we were playing like shit. Guess who the coach came over to first when we came on the sideline after a bad outing? Came over to me first. Came over because I'm the head of the line. Came over to the O-line. And so guess what he started doing? Lighting into us. He was right. I mean, I don't get it. And the O-line right now, the personnel, Andrew Berea, I don't. Why do we not call David Bakhtiari? Why do we not? We want this guy to play an elite level, but we're throwing out James Hudson and all these
David
guys.
Bakhtiari's on injured checklist from the Packers. Essentially, basically, it's this weird NFLPA thing when a player's been injured a bunch with a particular team, even though he's a free agent, he gets paid from that particular team. So I don't think he can be signed by anybody right now.
He can be, and he's healthy. He's ready to roll.
This happened like a week ago.
But 3 weeks ago, he was healthy. What about the other? And I mentioned on the show a month ago. You remember we talked about it. And there's some other guys out there too that
I don't know if Lyle Collins is out there. I try Lyle Collins.
That's the same. There's the dude from the Chiefs last.
He can't be worse than DeJuan Jones.
That's my whole point. There's guys out there that are better. That's my whole point. You know what I mean? You just named 2 guys off your head that are better than what we have, and we don't call them.
It's crazy. We're not even in the professional ranks. You know what I mean? I mean, you're 25. I'm just some 40-something-year-old guy that runs a sales department, a dealership. But we know this. All of us. We this is basic shit that just the average fan understands. That this is just fundamental. This is football 101. And we're sitting here scratching our head over these things. I mean, these are things we shouldn't even be talking about.
And that's why I don't put it all on the head coach either.
This is no, I don't.
It's like I said, there's a reason why we've had so many head coaches and we've had so many quarterbacks. At some point, you got to look in the mirror.
Here's my other question. We've brought up all these names. What the hell is Mike Vrabel doing? What do they have Mike Vrabel doing? Like, what is going on with him? Like, what is his role?
Well, allegedly, I know Mike. They say his role is, what is he, like a head coach consultant? Mike, is that what he is?
No, he's just a consultant in general. So basically,
he's not
he's not
involved on game day. I know that.
Think of it like if you had somebody whose whole job was to just get advice from.
Okay, well, if you brought this guy on, then and he's obviously very qualified. The culture that he comes from. If you bring him on, you bring him on for a reason. There's no way in hell with playing for the Patriots all those years. There's no way, and learning from the guy that he learned from, there's no way in hell that he's okay with this. It's just, is that what he's there for? Is he going to take a sample of this team over so many games and then start? Is he evaluating, and is he going to make a recommendation?
Well, I'll say this. I'm just speculating. I'm not saying something's going to happen. I'm just speculating. I just think it's fair to point this out there. If people can disagree, that's okay. Like I said earlier, Bob Quinn got hired last year as a coaching executive. We know he's connected to New England. He's connected with Mike Vrabel as well. Mike Vrabel's from the area. Went to Walsh. Was a legend here. Was at the Walsh. Got inducted to the Walsh Hall of Fame last week. They had him there at the ceremony and stuff. He's an Ohio State guy. He's a legend at Ohio State. Was a legend in New England. Was with Deshaun Watson in Houston when Deshaun Watson was playing well. Guys in professional sports all the time, and even in college and other places as well. Not saying this is what's going on, but it's just pure speculation. They'll take jobs. Mike wanted to be a head coach again, but he was too masculine for certain organizations. I'm sure hired some idiots that are probably losing teams right now, but that's a whole nother thing. He was too masculine for certain teams, according to reports. He wants to be a head coach again. He's very well qualified to be a coach. He's had great success in this league. He's taken teams deep in the playoffs with lesser talent. I think guys will position themselves, just like Dan said here. I'm not saying this is what happens, but guys do position themselves all the time in professional sports. Yeah, they may take a lesser role temporarily because they're thinking, gee, if this guy, as soon as they get him out, don't just put me in there. Not saying it's going to happen, but it's a speculation. But DiBiaseo, you there? But I'm going to get you back in here.
But either way, though, even if you made that change, you can't make that change without the top changing. Mike Vrabel's not going in there. I don't know Mike Vrabel, but I know his story. I know where he's played. This dude is not going in there head coach with this front office. Not happening.
Well, I don't. Not with the not with the influence.
Not with these soft asses in this front office. The guy knows better.
No, trust me, I agree with you 100%.
You know what I mean? So
Vrabel ain't go over that.
What else is going on? Like, what are the other possibilities that are coming?
I don't know. We're gonna find out because I don't think you're gonna be able to get out of that. Deshaun Watson's contract. But Joey and Gergs, I'll let you guys answer this question. I mean, and Joe, you go first. Is Deshaun Watson really the guy that should be trying to avoid right now? Trying to get rid of that contract? Is that really can you really say the reason they're 1-3 is because of Deshaun Watson fully?
No, it's not. It's not fully on Deshaun Watson. I will tell you this. I think they should make a change sooner than later at some level of the team.
Sure.
I firmly believe Deshaun or Stefanski will not be back next year. One of those guys will be gone. Now, I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's fully on Deshaun. It's probably not fully on Stefanski, but there has to be some change within the organization. We'll see what they pick and choose. But no, it's not. It's not on Deshaun. I mean, like I said, I thought he played pretty well today. Amari, kind of dropped the ball on a couple. I think it was 2 passes, right? It was definitely that one that was an interception. But yeah, no, he did okay from what he could do, but no, I think it's more on Stefanski at this point. Play calling was a little bit better, but like I said, this is a Raiders team that is not that good. This is I think Chris was saying this is the easy part of our schedule. We should be playing well, so it's expected that we should be playing well, and we're not.
Gergs?
I don't see how you can. I think without Watson today, I think you lose by more than 4. I think you lose. I think probably they run away with it in the second half without Watson.
Does it really matter, Gergs, if they make a change at head coach or quarterback or not? Or does it really matter, do you think?
Absolutely, I think so. I think that I think that Stefanski versus Vrabel, I think Vrabel will come in there and change and there has to be an attitude to your football team.
Yeah.
An identity, a toughness. And there is zero identity, toughness on the Cleveland Browns right now. And Vrabel will come in there and instantly makes that. I mean, his Titans teams were never the greatest, but they were always hovering around 500. Why? Because they were tough. They ran the ball. They had an identity of toughness that Vrabel brings to it, which will I think it'll instantly do that.
Well, I believe your head coach has to match your. I mean, Cleveland's a blue collar city. You have to feed into who you are, and we're trying to be something that we're not, and it's not really proven that has won.
And I also
think
either. That if you were to go in there and ask those football players who they want as their head guy, more than 70% of them would say Mike Vrabel over Stefanski.
Well, I mean, you heard what Deshaun and the Njoku said on the podcast back in March.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, and that could be a lot of what's going on too, because there's it's like, if if this guy should be the leader, this guy should be the coach, and he's not, that causes an issue. And the Browns just have horrible morale. I mean,
yeah, bad.
Mike, it's horrible. I mean, they don't even like up. If you you just look in their eyes when they're out there, and when they zoom in on their faces and just their body language, see them on the sidelines. I mean, they just have. Why? I mean, that's obviously all coaching. That all goes back to all the coaching.
What bothered me?
Bad morale.
What bothered me today the most, and you guys can hit on this, is when DeJuan Jones missed that block that would have been probably a touchdown to Amari Cooper if Deshaun had time. And Deshaun's on the ground. He starts bitching him out right there. Gets on him, as he should, because nobody really has, it seems like. And DeJuan Jones chirped back a little bit. It's fine. The guys are in the heat of the moment. That happens. That's a very common thing in football. But what bothered me is when they showed the sideline, and I see Jameis Winston up there basically acting as the coach, as your assistant, as the coach, one of the coaches on the sideline should be acting as, and talking to guys, trying to break it up, trying to cool things down. And then eventually Deshaun goes over, it's leader should, and talks to Dewan and, peps him up and, talks him man to man. I didn't see any coaches standing there. I didn't see anybody fired up. I didn't see any coach over there with usually you see a coach standing there with a tablet yelling, and maybe I missed it, but it looked very like just like the players are out there coaching themselves in a way, on that little thing there. I think it's good to let your players kind of have that space in a way, especially you have guys that want to step up and do that in that area. But that to me, it just doesn't seem like it's happening where it should be happening from. And now it's to the point where your quarterback and your players have to do it amongst themselves. I mean, your backup quarterback's the guy over there keeping everything, trying to kind of keep everything afloat on the sideline. And there's no, I didn't see any assistant over there doing. I didn't see any Dickerson over there. Did you guys see anything? Anybody?
You never do.
I didn't. Did Joey? Do you remember that point in that game when they showed that thing on the sideline with Dewan and?
Yeah,
I didn't see it. I didn't see anybody over there in the coaching staff. Did you?
No, but I mean, going back to Watson, like that was awesome. I loved
Yeah.
how Watson was doing that. I've never seen Watson like get that, fired up, in a game, at least this year. I want to see more of that.
I
You don't
agree.
see enough of that from Watson. So I love that. I wish more guys would do that on our team.
Gergs?
Well, frustration is building clearly in Cleveland.
Yes.
You just saw
Amari Cooper's going off on the media this week. I mean,
you just saw which
yeah,
he shouldn't be going off on anybody.
No, he should be going off in a sunset. Trying to hang it up.
Drop ball that that whatever illegal formation or whatever they called it. I mean, the penalty that he drew. I mean, it awful. I mean, who's he? Who's he to go off on anybody? He needs that boy needs to look in the mirror because he's playing terrible. But again, that's neither here nor there. He's an NFL player and I'm not. So, he's clearly better than me. I'm just, looking at it like he shouldn't be talking to anybody. But again, it's not just Amari Cooper, dude. It's the whole team. The whole team
right.
is a disaster. Do I think that, again, this team with under Vrabel, is a much better football team? I wouldn't even say that, but at the end of the day, I think that they win last week's game, and they very well could have won this week. But I don't know going forward if some of the meat and potatoes of their schedule. I truly don't know. I mean, they very well might go 5-12, which is just crazy to think of.
I'm gonna be honest. This feels very 2018-ish, Baker's rookie year, when you had Hugh Jackson at the helm. I'm not saying it's fancy Hugh Jackson. He's way better than Hugh Jackson. All right, but so far this season, with the information we have, it reminds me of that season where you see flashes in a pan. Right, Baker showed he came out that first game against the Jets on Thursday night, lit it up, and we just were finally excited to have something. But as the season went on, you still saw that there was something that wasn't clicking, and then they finally made a change, and the rest of the season was pretty good. They finished with a winning record, almost made the playoff. Baker looked a lot better, broke the rookie touchdown record. You know what I mean? It feels kind of similar in a lot of ways to 2018 so far this season, in my opinion.
You know what, too, I just thought about is that you look at the captains on our team, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Deshaun. I'll count Nick Chubb as a captain technically. They're all Njoku. They're all quiet leaders. You don't have any vocal captains on our team that just grow players. And that's not a knock on them, but you need a good balance of captains that are willing to express how they feel to the rest of the team. And I just wish that our leaders would do that more, at least a couple of them. You look at you look at the Lions, for example, like Dan Campbell's a pretty vocal coach and Jared Goff is more of a quiet quarterback. They complement each other really well in that regard. And I just feel like with the Browns, we just have too many quiet guys that no one is just willing to fire the team up. You need more of those guys.
I 100% agreed. I've been saying that for a while on the show. I think sometimes it's better to keep guys or maybe sign guys maybe older. Yeah, they may not be who they used to be, but there's something more value they bring to it if you want to have a real championship contending culture.
Listen, these guys are football players, man. They're in combat mode. I mean, their minds. There's only you can't be solidly soft sell and try to. You can't use that approach to try to coach football players, especially in the NFL. They don't respond to that. These guys, in the way a lot of these guys grew up, their backgrounds, where they came from, they don't respond to that. That's not who they are, let alone the sport, the way the sport is. It's like here, if I got a battalion of troops going into combat, hey, I'm not approaching them with, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over the lines here, and that's not how you approach it. You know
There's
what I mean?
a reason why Mike McDaniels is 0-11 in cold weather games. But go ahead.
Correct. There's just there's certain caliber guys, and here you guys know how I am. You know how my
take on the
mindset.
identity of your leader.
Correct.
Yep.
That's exactly it. But if you're trying, listen. Yeah, one thing I've always taught guys, and what I was always taught, you manage different people differently. Well, all these guys they're all the same in one way. I mean, they all have their own individual backgrounds, but they're all one way. That's why they're playing pro football. They're dogs. They're intense. They're wound up. And they're coming to work. You can't approach these guys with just this soft mentality. It's crazy. I mean, I'm sitting there watching John Harbaugh. I just watch. You guys probably just saw him. He's sitting there tuning up one of his coaches. I don't know if he didn't want him to call. I wasn't really paying enough attention, but I don't know if he was mad about him calling a timeout or not, or taking too long to call it. But he showed some emotion. You know what I mean? So, I mean, again, you just can't. It's like Stefan. I mean, he should be coaching soccer.
But what's the? Because what's and Mike? I don't know if you're still there, Mike. But
What's the chip on their foot?
what's the difference last year though to this year? So hello.
Oh,
what was the question?
Oh, let's see. Are you still there?
Yeah, no, I was listening.
Oh, okay.
Letting everybody get it out.
No, I know what I'm saying. What's the difference this year though? Because last year when shit looked like it was going south, they brought in Flacco. The team did respond to him, and they did rally, and they did make the playoffs. I know, Gurg, you think it was lesser opponent stuff, but that team could have easily tapped out last year, and they still found a way to rally somehow. But this year we're just not seeing that. It's just not consistent enough. So what's your guys' take on that, Mike? I'll let you go first. I appreciate it. I thought you were gone.
No, I'm chilling. Again, I really think injuries have a ton to do with it in the new offensive scheme, because you're running a lot more 5-0 protection, a lot more shotgun, which predicates 5-0 protection. So unfortunately, you have to be very good in pass pro in order to do that. Why it was easy to rally, or at least easy to score a lot more points last year, even with like backup guys at tackle, at right guard, at center. You had a lot of heavier sets. You had a lot more 2 tight end sets. You had a lot more, 2 tight ends and a running back. And we're just not seeing that because, again, they tried to tailor this offense to Deshaun. Again, I said at the beginning of the show, I don't think play calling was bad. I don't think Deshaun was bad either. I don't think 2/3 of the wide receivers were bad. It's really just comes down to the new offensive scheme dictates that you have to be in 5-0 protection, like at least half, if not more of the time. And we don't have the personnel right now to do it. So it looks like, we'll get behind the sticks a lot more. Like the center snapping the ball in the last drive. Yeah, that has to do, again, that goes back to injuries. Like Nick Harris shouldn't do that. He's been in the league a long time, Josh. But
why are you even in that play? Why are you in? Why aren't you just Jerome Ford just broke a 30 some yard run
out of
You're
a run
in,
out of a run in shotgun, and
Okay.
Deontay Foreman was in shotgun with. I don't even know what the play was. It could have been an inside zone run, like the same play that Jerome Ford just broke off, and Deshaun was
But
just going
why
through
are you-
normal checks. Like,
but
that's
why are
all on
you
Nick
putting
Harris.
your
What do you mean?
players in
Why are you in
position to
that play?
fail? Why are you putting your players in position to fail if you know that they aren't who they are?
It's
gotta
normal.
you
It's
have to
normal
know your
fucking
person.
checks, Chris.
You
It's normal
no,
QB checks. He was just
no.
making normal checks at the play, and Nick Harris snapped it way too early.
I'm talking about why are you throwing the ball 80% of the freaking time when you know you can't pass protect?
Because you can't run the ball either right now. We have
You're
the
not
most
trying.
we have the most tackles behind the line of scrimmage of any team in the NFL, and we run the least. You're right. What do you think would happen if we ran more?
I don't know. Jerome Ford just ran one for 35 2 minutes before you did that.
Jerome Phone has always been feast or famine.
Mike, the game historically forever has always told you the more if you run more, you got a better chance of winning. You know what I mean? That's just the way the game works. It's just the way it
Look at
works.
the teams around the NFL. Even Josh Allen, who's pass happy as can be, they run the football. It doesn't matter if you're only getting 1 or 2 yards. Guess what? A 2nd and 8 is way better than a 2nd and 15.
Well, and you gotta let your O-line impose their will. And the way you pose your will is through the running game, because running game is most of running as run blocking is just man on man, mano a mano. It ain't really, you know, what I mean, there's some tech, but it's a lot of it is just man on man. And now, as somebody who played center, so you guys mentioned they had that big run with Jerome Ford before that play, right, Chris?
Yeah.
They had the 2-minute warning. That means they went off the effing field and went to the sideline. And as somebody who played center, I had to know what the cadence was first and foremost, more than anything, because that's how I hiked the ball.
Yeah.
You just went on the sideline and came off the field, and you botched the cadence in the snap. That is a major communicational problem on the sideline. Period. End of story. When I didn't know the snap count, it's because there was a bad. It was a miscue, a communicational miscue. And for you to come out of the 2-minute warning and to not have that down, that's like, hello. I mean, what, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. That's nuts. How the hell do you come out of the 2-minute warning and you don't know what the snap count is and you botch it?
I agree. You're putting and I get it. Obviously, Nick Harris, he clearly was the one that did it. So you can't blame it on Stefanski.
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying that how the hell is that not communicated? Or it's maybe he's just that he just made that grave an error. Maybe he did. I'm not saying he didn't. Maybe that's a bad play on him. That's unacceptable as a center to not know that. That's the first thing you should know.
You know, it's like, oh well, this new system. At the end of the day, I get it's a new system. But you just freaking ripped off a 35-yard run. You have them on their heels. You need to go in and win the game. Get under freaking center and run the ball. You're 15 yards away from a touchdown and winning this game and doing this. You have them on their heels. I don't get it. You don't have to be in shotgun. I understand that they run the ball, and I get all these new schemes and stuff like that. But when you have a team on their heels, you go for their throat.
Hey, on that play,
and they get too cute.
It's
just cute football.
When he botched that snap, Dad, what happened?
Yeah.
You saw more, because I kind of was looking at my phone too, and I looked back at the replay. Did Deshaun just literally walk when he was about to walk up to get ready to initiate the downset hike? Did the ball just get hiked?
Yeah, he was sitting there. I don't know who was in a tailback, but he was talking to him, trying to get him to scoot up or do some shit,
and the ball just got hiked.
He just snapped the ball.
That's a communication problem.
Absolutely, it is. You know, that's
if Deshaun would have said hike and he snapped it, it would have been on him, in my opinion, mainly on him. He still gets some, like you said, Chris. I agree with you, but That's what I thought. They weren't even ready to hike the ball yet, and he hiked it. And I'm wondering what the hell were they doing at the when they were out the side of the 2-minute timeout?
You got all that time. You had your
got all that
timeouts.
time. That should not happen.
Right.
Period. When you have all that time on the sideline, there's no excuse for that to happen. Period.
Well, you should be, like Chris said, you should be trying to run the ball. I don't care. Here, you just like I said, Jerome Ford just ran 130, 40 yards. Try to run the ball, and you got an athletic quarterback that is dangerous on the run. Run some plays, some RPO, something that keeps the defense off balance. You know what I mean? They didn't do that the whole game. It may have been a good time to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like having a 12th man out there. If I get you don't want to do it all the time because you don't want to get hurt, but that may have been a time to do that.
I just think that you have to be able to adjust to what's given to you.
You gotta be
And
multiple.
I just don't think that they do. It's 10-0. You just had two great drives, and then you come out and you just abandon what got you there.
Here's what the Browns did in that scenario. They did exactly what the Raiders thought they would do. You got the Raiders backed up on their heels. You just gave up that big ass run. The defense is under tremendous pressure. We're going to lose this game. This is where you drive it down their throat. You know what I mean? You pound that. Bring in heavy set. I don't care what you got to do. This is where you just browbeat them into submission. You know what I mean? Because they're the ones under pressure now. But no, the Browns did exactly what the Raiders knew they were going to do, and that's why they stopped it.
Yeah, the Browns don't impose their will.
No.
Even going back to 2020 when they made it to playoffs that year, there was games where they get up like on the Titans and stuff, and they'd get up big, and the teams would creep back into the game and be down one score in the fourth quarter.
I
When
remember
you have somebody on their neck, you take them out.
I remember the players for the Titans saying after the game, calling them soft. They're soft. The Browns are soft. And they're right. They're still soft.
And that's the one thing that Vrabel would change.
He would. Because he's not soft.
And I don't care what personnel there is there. He'd change it. And he'd bring that mentality of toughness.
Here, I'm sorry, but here, I think these, again, I'm going to keep going back to this because they're football players. You don't get to the NFL by being soft. You know what I mean? I just don't think you do. But you got to be coached up. You know what I mean? So, again, you could get probably every guy in the roster to play like a dog. You know what I mean? So, it just takes that kind of leadership. That kind of goes to Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's not a real vocal guy, but I've always said this about him. It's the way it's his leadership and the way he plays the game. Every time they give him the ball, all the other 10 guys just get inspired by this cat. I mean, he don't even have to speak, which is amazing. It's just the way he is with the ball and how hard he's running and how quiet he is and selfless he is. That, again, it just becomes contagious, and they don't have anybody doing that right now. And if you don't have you can find a player to do that. The coach has got to find someone that can do that. And I didn't see this when you guys are talking about Watson, but if he was being vocal, hallelujah, somebody's got to do it, and if it's the quarterback, that's even better. But it's just, there's just no leadership. Morale is terrible. I'm telling you, we're tracking to win 4 games this year. And probably less than that because we're going to the tougher end of the schedule. Obviously, it's going to get tougher. But if you just played the same teams again and again, we're tracking to win 4 games.
It's like Dan put up here. If I was Nick Chubb at home watching this, because he's activated to come back and practice this week. If I was at home watching this line, I'd retire for a year and sign with someone else. And I would say that to my dad today too, Dan. I'm like, if I'm Nick Chubb, knowing Nick, I'm sure, knowing how Nick is what I meant to say. And like you just said, how you described him, he's going to want to come back and compete and play. That's who he is. And he loves Cleveland. He has pride. But yeah, from his standpoint, for his career and stuff, I wouldn't want to come back right now either.
This is beyond play calling. It's not a player. It's not a personnel issue, and it's beyond play calling. this is all because this is how I see things because of what I do. It's just bad mindset. There's terrible mindset, no leadership. All of this, I mean, that's all this is. All of it could go away. The play calling would just everything would seem better if the morale was better, which means that the coaching's got to be better. This is all mental. It's all a mentality. It's all a terrible culture, and the morale's horrific. And it's just
everybody. Go ahead.
It's not a schematic. It's none of that shit. We'll get on here and we'll bitch about the play calling and stuff like that. But I can tell you here, if these guys were all 100% dialed in for every game and coming out and playing hard and being inspired and believing in something, they'd be beating the hell out of teams, regardless of these play calls that we don't like. It's just they're so uninspired.
Here's the thing: you could say all this personnel. I don't care. You cannot tell me that without freaking Max Crosby and Devontae Adams, that Antonio Pierce and the Raiders had better personnel today on the football field.
I don't know.
It's not.
It's not even close.
So you can say it's a personnel issue, but you can't because they're not a good football team.
It's proof of just better coaching. Being inspired.
They just lost to the Carolina Panthers at home, who absolutely stink. So you can't tell me that the Raiders are some world beaters of personnel. No, their personnel stinks too. They were without their freaking two best players, and they still won. And no, you.
And by the way,
you could use all those excuses.
Let me put this out. I'm going to point this out here. And Joey, going back to your point earlier, DiBiase, about having dogs in the locker room, guys who lead. The guy last year that always led by example, was vocal, was Kareem Hunt. But all we ever heard was we didn't bring him back because for whatever reason. And it's like Hunt is smoking a mega blunt right now. Beast Grill says she's 4-0. Kareem Hunt. He brings value. He led your team in, I think, in touchdowns last year, if I'm not mistaken. We don't bring him back. Like, it's just, again, sometimes you have to, they may not be who they used to be, but you have to have guys in a locker room. It's a team sport. It's not a fantasy football lineup. You have to have guys that bring certain other elements. It's not just skill set and stuff. Guys have certain intangibles and stuff that they bring to a team, like you said, Joey. And now you see DiBiase, or not DiBiase. I'm sorry, DiBiase. You see a guy like Kareem Hunt still bring value to a team.
Yeah, he one great thing about Kareem Hunt too is he took on the identity of the city. Cleveland's known to be running the football, running it hard, and playing great defense. It's just any normal AFC North team. And you take that away, that falls on Berea and Deep Podesta and those guys. It goes back to those guys.
And like Josh, he's outtake Hunt over any of our backs right now. And like I said, I watched Jerome Ford, Josh, in college, and I know of that coaching staff because I know somebody who was on it. He played differently there because of the culture he was in. He was a damn good back in college. He was a big part of their offense that went all the way to the playoff that year.
Of course.
And he's not, again, you see this all the time. Guys get drafted to play. Sometimes it's their fault. I'm not saying Jerome Ford be some world beater, but he's some all-pro or anything. But I'm just saying people get on him sometimes. When you saw him in a better culture somewhere else, damn it, he was damn good. He was a hard-nosed back. He was a talented. He led them all the way to their offense a lot of ways, all the way to that playoff. He's not in a culture right now where he can flourish.
Guys, I watched Matthew Stafford for year after year after year after year not make the playoffs, and we trade him, and in that same year we trade him, he wins a Super Bowl with the Rams. Absolutely, it matters. Where you're at,
it matters. That's why these guys are all pros for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Look how many quarterbacks have been buried in Cleveland. People dogged out Tim Couch. Tim Couch was a great quarterback, dude.
Yeah.
The guy was a great quarterback. He just was never coached.
So we should have got rid of Baker crap is funny to me because at the end of the day, Baker would have been the same old Baker if he was still with the Cleveland Browns.
100%.
Oh,
He
absolutely
wouldn't be
would
the
be.
Baker he is today on the Bucks
No.
right now. Because guess what? It matters where you're at.
He said
Where
it
you're at
too.
matters.
He said it on a podcast recently. He said it. Look at what Cam Hayward just asked Justin Fields this week. Everybody wrote Justin Fields off, and the Bears had some clear upgrade. Well, the upgrade don't look as great. I'm not blaming him. He's a rookie, but they're not. That's a bad organization right over there. He's with a good organization now that's well coached, well ran, and yeah, he may not throw as many passing touchdowns yet, but they're winning. They're 3-1. Yeah, they lost today, but they still fought back at home down the road. Justin Fields is doing enough. He's playing winning football now because he's in a winning culture with winning a great head coach. But he's just with a better coach now than what he had in Chicago. Look at the difference.
But to say, but a head coach can bring that too. I mean, look at Detroit, Brad. You know what I mean?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, Brad Holmes is obviously a great GM, but Dan Campbell has brought that toughness of
Brought
Detroit
the identity.
and Cleveland. Has that same Detroit, Cleveland,
right.
Us against the world mentality to the team. And look at them. I mean, it matters. That crap matters. And Vrabel has that. I really do think that Vrabel has that. And I think that they could be better. But as far as last year, obviously, it seems like we knew who kept that line together, which was Callahan. Clearly, he was able to piece that and not show as much holes as obviously this year. But
well,
I said
Bill
last year while it was
Callahan's
happening. I said it was last year while it was happening that I thought that their wins were a product of who they were playing because they played a lot of backups too. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But again, who knows where they go? But
and what Bill
see
Callahan
5 and
notoriously
12.
does too. Coaches guys really hard.
Yes.
That's the only way you coach football players.
Very well known. He said once they let Kareem go back to Kansas City, I knew the Browns were cooked in the run game. They trust Jerome Ford over Kareem Hunt. It's ridiculous to me. Yeah, I mean, I like both guys if they're in the right, like I said, environment. When I saw Kareem Hunt sign back with Kansas City too, I'm thinking in my head, imagine this. Although it ain't gonna matter now the way we're looking, but imagine this: we play the Chiefs right around Christmas at home, and what if we're on the verge and we need a win to make the playoff hunt or whatever, and Kareem Hunt's the guy that runs in the game-winning touchdown against us? Imagine that.
You better believe he'll be on my TD score parlay.
I'd take him too, and Kareem's gonna,
100%.
knowing Kareem the competitor he is, he's gonna be wanting to destroy, and he can do it. He's a dog. He knows how to play football. Yeah, I don't. My gosh, how much do coaches even make? I don't know. We never heard about Stefanski's contract or years on the extensions, so I don't know. that's another mystery in itself.
Around 8 to 10 million.
Well, your boy Harbaugh got paid what, like 16 coming out of college?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say that. You don't have to worry about the Browns in the playoff. Oh man. Josh said Kareem was on almost every parlay last year. Yeah, he was a touchdown machine. He brings value. Stefanski makes 11 a year, I guess. I don't think it ever got disclosed publicly unless you found it. Mike, do you know that, Mike? Is you there, Antonis?
Yeah, no, I'm here. No, it didn't get disclosed.
I don't think it got disclosed either. Mike's chilling tonight.
I'm chilling. I'm just letting you guys get it off your chest. It's 1v 1, 2, 3, 4, so I can't get too deep in the weeds.
No, you're good, bro. We like when you yeah. Mike, you got an article coming out tonight, bud? You want to plug or over there at
I do have an article coming out this week. It's called Is Trevor Lawrence? It's part of my Is series, which I cover
of course it's Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, is Trevor Lawrence overrated? And it's going to be all about that.
Where can they find that at, Mike?
Roundtablesports.net. And also we have, if you are watching and you are a fan of any AFC and or NFC or NFL team in general, we do have somebody on roundtablesports.net that covers your team. And we just got new merch.
Go shout him out. Dan Mitchell's a great guy. I know
Dan Mitchell is a great guy. He's not having a great night, though.
Yeah, Mike speaks really high of him. I've seen him before, watched him before, and they got a great thing going. So go support him. Go support Mike. He gets his career started in the journalism now, and writing articles and stuff. So we'll get you a pass eventually, man. We'll get you back there in the locker room with a mic, and you'll be asking questions.
I can ask better questions than all those.
You probably could. I've seen some bad ones.
Except Mary Kay is great. Cam is great. Daniel is good. The new guy. I'm sick of Tony Grossi. I don't want to hear him speak ever again.
Allen.
I don't mind. Good.
Yeah, I'm calling out Tony Grossi by name just because
I'm not part of that. That's Mike by himself.
This is me. This is me by myself calling you out by name because you and I got into an argument, Tony Grossi, on Twitter, and then you blocked me because you were weak-willed. But that's fine. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, no.
What is Josh Allen? Oh my
God. What's going on? I don't have the game on.
He was damn near out of bounds and threw it downfield and hit a guy wide open. He's doing Josh Allen activities, in a good way.
Are they still up like 3 scores
on touchdown? Get out of here!
Get out of here!
The parlay is not looking good for Chris tonight. Yeah, the parlay is not hitting tonight. But looking at the next,
if I get this, I can get right now tomorrow. I could get the Browns, those players, more ready for next week than those fucking coaches can. I guarantee you. You guys know me. I could get in. I'd get these guys fired the hell up. You know what I mean?
Oh, they would hear it, wouldn't they, Mike, all week?
Oh, of course. Of course.
I'm telling you, I would.
Well, yeah, we know
that's
you
just.
are.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. I'm just a manager.
Oh man. Looking at the next week, though, not next week to the future. I'll get all you guys' opinion on this. We'll wrap it up. My man says, and shout out to you. I see you in here every week. I appreciate you. Yeah. He said they're going to get their ass kicked by Jaden Daniels next week. Mike, looking ahead to next week, man, I don't know where they go from here, Mike. I guess, how optimistic are you going forward? I know they're looking at the Commanders, who have been playing well. Jaden Daniels.
They have been playing really well. I think Jaden Daniels is actually on pace to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But, it's not going to be an easy game. I still have a little of optimism left. I still think our defense is good. I still think I saw a little bit of spark out of the offense. Like, there is still time to right the ship. It is only going to be week 5, but, there's got to be some major righting the ship. You know what I mean?
When do you hit the panic button? Full blown, like season's lost. Or are you already there?
I'm not there yet, just because we're on the road thing. Like, if we lose the next 2, like if we go here, I'll put it this way: if we're 2 and 4, and then we get to our home stretch, and we don't either A, win out, or B, go 500. So if we're not 4-4 by week 8, I'll hit the panic button. Or week 9, going into week 9, if we're not 4-4,
which is
because So if we're not 500 by the bye, I'll hit the panic button. If we're even a game below that, because if you're 4-4 going into the bye, there's not a panic button. You can still maybe squeak out 9 games, squeak into the playoffs.
Well, there are a lot of teams with losing records in the AFC this year. So right now, as it looks, like you said, things would have to go really well, which we've seen teams do that before in the past a lot of times.
The teams have started 1-2, 1-3, and gone on huge runs. I don't know if I see that out of this Browns team,
right?
But I don't think it's impossible. It just really all depends, how this team responds after this week. You know what I mean? But
yeah, Jersey, looking at the next week, and are you off ship already?
Yeah, I am just based. I'm off ship because of the lack of execution, the penalties. Just the lack of discipline, no heart, no morale. They're in a bad spot. And isn't Bill Callahan with Washington now?
No, he's with Tennessee with his
Okay, for
son.
some reason I thought he was with Washington. I don't know why, but anyways, I think they're done. I mean, it's just obvious looking at them. And we're talking about this. We're our conversations. It's been the same for years. I mean, it's the
Yeah, it
same
kinda
damn
has.
thing. Why would we think it's going to change?
Yeah.
Why would they? I mean, there's no reason to believe it's going to change. And then to say, well, there's a lot of teams in the AFC that got losing records right now, but that still doesn't make it better. What do we want to go and just barely sneak into the playoffs with with leading the league in penalties and, not having an identity? No, we don't want to. You know what I mean? You just can't be squeaking into the playoffs. That's not what it's been too long. There's all this money invested into this, the rebuild. I mean, we're supposed to be trying to win a Super Bowl, and we're not.
Well, I'm saying if you're 4-4 at the bye week and maybe you make a change like you were talking about earlier, then maybe you could spark that.
I'm saying panic button now, not by the record.
I agree with you. I'm just giving it a different.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying based on everything that I see, it's a continuation of last year. If anything, it's worse at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, and a continuation of the year before that. It's just the same old stupid shit that goes on in Cleveland. So, and what's that mean? There's been the same coaching regime around the whole front office around the entire time. Yeah, you don't blame the players. It's not the players. It's not the players. If it's not the players, then who is it? The fans? No, it's the damn front office. It's time to change it or change. I mean, you can't sit there and blame the players. That's what the front office wants to do. So hit the panic button now. Get these guys out of that front office. Get somebody in there, a president of football operations that actually understands football. There's guys. I mean, my gosh, pay Bill Belichick $25 million a year to sit up in that.
Well, I don't want him drafting though.
I'm not. I don't. He's a guy who won 7 Super Bowls. I don't give a shit.
Well, I don't think
horrible GM. He set back New England a long time. Horrible GM.
Okay, we got a better GM now.
Yes, unequivocally. Actually,
we
do have a better GM than
you might have a guy that's good with money.
No, he's good with the draft.
No, but he's
Belichick over 4 years. The Patriots only re-signed 2 players in 4 years of drafting.
I'm not saying that's the guy, but what I'm saying is,
we were talking about Belichick and Berea.
There's football mind. This is an example. There's football guys out there. There's guys that understand. But here's the one thing with Bill Belichick. Everyone knew whose team it was. There was structure.
There was an idea.
New England teams executed. And he won 7 or 6 Super Bowls with the greatest quarterback ever, but a bunch of other guys were mediocre. Yeah. You know what I mean? He had Randy Moss for a year or so. He never had a bunch of. What's that?
In that market too, which I mean, Boston's a big market, but football wise, New England was a dreadful franchise before you got there.
Right,
I mean, they're not bringing in the top flight free agents,
and they always had solid offensive lines, great offensive linemen, disciplined players. Look at Mike Vrabel. Won't go down as maybe down the road going to Hall of Fame, but more likely not. But look at the career the guy had. That was from playing in that organization. So Teddy Bruschi, another guy.
These guys are,
that's what I'm saying. So, there's guys you knew here. There was Bill and there was Robert Kraft. You know what I mean? Everyone knew that, and then there was Tom. So we don't have that in Cleveland. We don't have a football mind in the front office. We got a bunch of guys.
At least we're getting a new stadium.
Yeah, to just lose in, and then to resell the seating license, and then overcharge for tickets. I mean, again, I don't care. I want to win. I just want to have a damn Super Bowl.
That throw for the new stadium has died very quickly compared to
Again,
what it was.
well, here, remember I touched on that 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
When you're trying to build a new stadium, because somebody said, "Well, they're still going to get built." Listen, you want to be winning because the money comes easier. There's going to be a big ass fight in Cleveland. There is. It's already starting.
Oh yeah.
And about location, money, it's much easier for the Haslam's if they got a winning team on the field. Let me tell you this: if the Haslam's made it to the Super Bowl this year, and let's just say they did, let's just say they made it to AFC Championship. Okay,
Hypothetically,
let's just say hypothetically they made it to AFC Championship and even lost, played a really good game, but just barely lost. They're getting that money, no problem.
if they were the Detroit Lions last year,
The resistance goes down from all the forces that are fighting them. You know what I mean? So it becomes a lot easier. There's a lot less hoops to go through, and that's what they're focused on, probably more than anything. So,
and Josh said both home games were emptied out by halftime. Think of that money they lost, or think of the money they lost to second that jersey.
Think about that. The home games are emptied out at halftime. Here, when I took your mom, what was that last year?
2022 against Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
Yeah, everybody. We left at halftime. Everybody, when that's happening in Cleveland, at any city, but let alone Cleveland, that's a bad sign.
Well, and you were the hottest home team in the league last year, had the best record at home, 8-1. You're 0-2 at home so far this year. I mean, you lost to the freaking Giants at home.
Yeah, it's just that it's the front office.
Well, ownership takes a part in that as well.
Well, that's what I mean. Ownership down, down to the coaching. It's not the players, because you could plug in right now. Probably just change out one position in that front office and coach. Totally different team.
At this point, all hands on deck. That's as bad as it is. Joey, your take about it on next week, and are you off the ship?
I'm jumping off the brownie ship, man. Get me out.
Get him a life vest.
Get me a life vest. No, if unless they make a change, yeah, I'm jumping off. It's not even about the record. It's just about how the way we're playing. I would be okay if we were 1-3, if we were playing with some heart, with some sense of urgency, but everyone just seems to be going through the motions. That's why I said I loved how Deshaun was getting vocal to Dwan Jones, like someone was standing up for a change. But yeah, if this team was playing with some heart, with some identity, and they were still 1-3, I would be okay with it. I wouldn't be happy, but I'd be okay with it. But there's just no identity, no fear factor in the opposing teams. So yeah, I think we'll probably. I mean, yeah, we'll probably lose to Washington. They've been playing really well. Jaden Daniels, like Mike was saying, is going to be offensive rookie of the year. So I mean, he's on my fantasy team, so he's been balling. But
yeah,
yeah.
Like what you guys said, you know what's crazy too is I've tried to be a little more optimistic in some ways tonight up here, but you know, Dad, what did you have on today, Dad? We were out in the Cleveland area today for a little bit. What did you have on?
Well, at first I went out with just a regular.
No, I'm saying when we went out the Cleveland area, what did you wear today out?
Well, here at first I wasn't even going to wear any Browns gear, but then I was like, okay, I was down by the dryer and I saw my Browns t-shirt, my dog pound shirt, so I put that on.
And your hat.
And my hat.
What did I have on today? For the first time in my whole life.
A different t-shirt representing a different city. Not a football, but just a city. Definitely, you didn't have any Browns gear on.
I didn't have any Browns gear on today. Right, and that's the reason why I didn't feel the need to put it on today, because I just I don't believe in what we're doing right now. It's just my own opinion. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. What we're doing, I don't see any turnaround. I like what you just said, DiBiase. I agree with 100%. Change has to strike somewhere, wherever it goes. I don't know, but this ain't it.
I'm gonna add this real quick. Now we went to a restaurant. We sat in a restaurant for a while, and we went to Costco, which was when they were packed. 9 out of 10 people didn't have Browns gear on. That's very unusual. Most time you're seeing orange people got their gear on.
I think it's I mean, is it fair to say this is the most unlikable Browns team in recent history? I can't think of another Browns
No.
team that is more.
No.
Well,
What's
since
another
the
one?
0-16, since the 0-16, is this the most unlikable? Yes.
No.
Who was more likable than this team?
Who was more unlikable, you mean?
Since 0-16, right? Everybody agrees that was an unlikable team.
The 2019 Browns.
I don't know if that was unlikable though, man, because people were
I
still there was
hated
still
that
hope and
Browns team.
well, you hated it, but I'm saying in general, they were a big letdown. You're right, but man, that was that 2019 home opener against the Titans was the most electric home opener I've ever seen in my life.
For like the first half before everybody
Yeah, but
left.
I'm saying there was still optimism. That team was 2-2 by week 4, and there was still optimism. They just beat the Ravens at home, for crying out loud. There was still optimism, and you had a young quarterback, and you didn't know yet. It was they didn't get written off till later in the year. But I'm saying Joe's right. For this early in the season, I mean, everywhere we went today, we at Costco, we're walking out. The guy at the door, he asked and some other people. Everybody, when they ask you about the Browns, it's a negative comment. It's very negative. I've never seen it more than I've seen in the recent weeks, at least from what I've seen and talked to. Dad, that guy asked you today, man. Like it's everything's negative about them right now locally. Like you
know
said,
why? And by him asking me, you think they'll pull it off today? Basically, that's a negative. That's negative.
right? He
What he was
said it
saying.
in a way like, man, it'd take a miracle for us to beat the freaking Raiders.
Well, he just he has a negative mindset about the Browns. And then what did I answer with? I said, nope, they're not going to win. And so the problem is people like us are fed up. You know, you've seen all this money spent. Okay, we're supposed to be at a certain spot. We're not. You know what I mean, we went through the winless season, through all that whole build because we're going to rebuild. We're going to come out of this, and we got the same shit we had last year, the year before. It's the same. There's no growth. As a matter of fact, they're going backwards. People are growing tired of it. They're sick of it.
Saying here, I still saw. I think you underestimated. We did see a good amount of people with stuff on today, but it wasn't as much. But
nowhere near as much as it used to be.
Well, yeah, I agree, but forget the gear. Even with the people with the gear on, the optimism and the how they view the team, I've never seen it as bad than since 0-16.
Well, anyone with a brain, wouldn't be optimistic about the season after losing.
But you know how Browns
as a Lions,
but it's never been like it's never. What Joe's saying, it's never been like this.
It's never been like this. And Chris is a Lions fan. We have a lot in common.
Yeah, of course.
Brown fans are very blind and loyal to their team no matter what. Even in 19, they were. I was a loyal fan in 19 all the way. I thought to the end of the year, man, they could still make playoffs somehow. And believe the whole Odell thing. But that ain't happening like it used to be. It's just not. It's not. I don't think it's there like it used to be this year. And you could feel it. And I think a lot of that is the Deshaun stuff too. I think people have their own opinion about that. That's fair to throw out there. But I just think in general, like I had my uncle, my uncle Brent. Shout out to Brent. He told me last night on the phone. He thinks they should just. He loves the Browns. He's always optimistic. Watches every week, no matter who they got there. I mean, he's at the game telling Case Keenum when Case Keenum stepped in that Thursday night game. He's I love you, Case Keenum. Like dude loves the Browns no matter who they got out there. He told me yesterday on the phone. He goes, Joseph, I think they might as well just tank the rest of the year. They ain't going nowhere with this. He told me, he goes, I'm just not really enthused to watch the game either. And I've never heard him say that ever. I got an uncle who's another uncle who's a diehard Browns fan. He's not watching anymore. He's done. He said, he told me last year after that Houston game, I'm not wasting my Sundays anymore. I'd rather go out and do other things and spend time with family or, with his wife and dog and whatever. He's fed up with it because he doesn't believe in. That's my whole point. People used to believe in the Browns much more than they do this year. Like in terms of just fake, even if it's just blind optimism, it ain't there. It's not as much there.
Hey, the fandom morale matches the team. This is
exactly
the morale of the fans is the lowest I've ever seen.
I think I mean, not to get too sidetracked here,
Oh, you're
but
good, bro.
Mike, I'll push back on you saying the 0-16 team was more disliked. I think this team is the most disliked because at least with the 0-16, we didn't have expectations. We knew we were rebuilding. With this team, we are definitely not in a rebuilding phase. We have high expectations. You know, we're trying to make the playoffs. We're trying to win the AFC North. So I think that's why it's so disappointing and why people are so fed up with it is that you're throwing this money at so many players. You're on paper supposed to be such a good team, and it's just such a letdown on top of, you know, everything else included. And it's just, I think all that together is why people dislike this team so much.
And you're losing to teams that are actually in rebuilds.
Correct.
So,
yeah, I mean, Josh right here.
and I'm sitting here watching this game, and see, I feel like this happens every week. I can watch the Browns, and then I turn this on. I feel like I'm watching like legitimate professional football teams. I mean, it's just a different type of football. The level of play, they play harder. I mean, it just feels like I'm watching. I think you would think the Browns are an entire different league.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
I don't know, man.
Like, I'm entertained by this shit. This is even my teens, but I can watch the Browns like today, and I'm nosing off. These guys,
Yeah.
I'm dialed in on this game, even though it's a blowout, but at least it's exciting to watch.
I mean, look at this. This is awful. I mean, this is this is the ultimate. I've been saying I'm committed to the Cardinal sin and jumping to the Ravens. I mean, that's
Don't do it.
that's awful. That should be that's like a felony.
That is.
But he's willing to commit
you know what
it.
though? Hey, but you know what though? I can see why. It's the style. It's the style of play that they've always had an identity. They play football the way you're supposed to play football. You know, Lamar Jackson, I don't think he's a quarterback that can lead you to a championship, but I love watching the guy. He's a hell of a football player. They're just fun to watch. They play football.
Room on the Lions, Ben.
They play football the way it's supposed to be played. You know what I mean? So, we just look like a bunch of freaking
duds,
half-hearted guys that don't even really want to be there.
Well, watch Monday Night Football tomorrow at 8:00. Let's go, ESPN. Let's get it done.
Good. You got money on that? What do you got on that game tomorrow? Anything?
I haven't put it in yet.
No, not yet. Not yet. How'd you do today in the parlay or anything?
Well, Brock Bowers let me down, but you know, I got one rolling. I need James Cook to get another 24 receiving yards, and then a Josh Allen tutty for 500. So let's go. Lamar's tutty and Isaiah Likely hit. So
Dan said I've seen Turkey Bowl teams with more offensive rhythm than Stefanski's scout team.
True.
Well, yeah.
You know, going back, you know, and this could be a topic for another night, but going back to the Bill Belichick as a GM and then the Andrew Berry thing, I guess I just want to bring up this point. Yes, he's hit on some draft picks. There's no doubt about it. But how do you have no depth on the offensive line? Who offensively has he drafted that you can look at and say, wow, that was a good pick? I mean, defensively, he's picked good players, but offensively, he has. Who has he drafted that you look at and you're like, yeah, that's a hit.
I thought Jerome Ford.
What?
That's Ford. Yeah, Jerome Ford.
You just told me 25 minutes ago that Jerome Ford is very hit or miss.
He's feast or famine, but he's a third down back, and he's at least held it down. Yeah, he still plays meaningful snaps. He's still he's not like a depth guy. And then I'd say probably Zach Zinner looks good so far. DeJuan Jones looked good last year, and I still expect him to be good. But he hasn't really drafted a ton of offensive players yet. He's mostly traded for them.
Well, his wide receivers that he's drafted are poop.
Well, the trade with Elijah Moore wasn't great either.
No.
Well, again, you got to look at it from a sense of if you're hanging your hat on Jerome Ford as your that's not saying much. I mean, yeah,
he's only drafted one player on offense in the first round, though. Or I don't think he's drafted a player on offense in the second round yet either.
But did he make the trades to make that happen?
What?
He put himself in that position, though, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, he did get Deshaun. But
I'm saying, what did he give up to get Deshaun? What did he give up to get Elijah Moore? 3 firsts and a second rounder. So he put himself in that predicament.
Well, I get it. I'm looking
not
back
saying
at the Deshaun trade, and I wish we wouldn't have made it. Like,
but I'm
I
saying,
don't
if you're gonna put yourself in that predicament, you have to be able to hit the bell in other areas as well to make up for. You still have. It doesn't give you an excuse not to shit the bed in other areas. Or drafting other rounds or in acquiring players or trades.
Well, I mean, in the rounds
the
that
Green
he
Bay
did
Packers
draft
for
players, he
years
did well.
didn't draft an offensive player, and they still, were good.
Well, this is where and this goes back to what Dan said many times. When you mortgage the team to get that quarterback, man, you better make, and it doesn't pan out. You're up shit creek. You know what I mean? It had to pan out, and that's we haven't had all those picks now, and it's as of today it was all for nothing. So that ultimately goes back on him. I get why he did it. It was his chance to get a QB in Cleveland that they believed in. Okay, I get that, and because if they wouldn't have made the move, then everybody would have. We would have been bitching about that. Everybody would have bitched about that.
Well, and the days in Baker and Cleveland at that point were gone. Baker didn't want to come back anyway. Right. That whole thing was shot at the end of that year.
Right. So I get why they did it, but okay, it's still on the front offices. It ultimately comes down to the front office to make sure that they're winning. This is all a referendum on them.
I was just bringing up the point that he's not necessarily the draft guru that people think he is. I mean,
okay, you could be you got to have somebody in the front. I don't want a guy that can just draft. I want a guy that can lead a damn football team. That's what I want.
Well, of course,
I can have somebody do drafting, and and they can consult with me. I need a guy with leadership in that front office. That's what you got to have, not some guy that can draft okay, or he's pretty good at drafting. Okay, how's that panning out? You go back to Bill Belichick. Well, he couldn't draft worth the shit. He's got 6 Super Bowls.
Again, though, Andrew Berry's the GM, though. That's not his job.
I'm just saying. No, what I'm saying is, but no. Bill ran everything. He ran all operations.
And after Tom left, they made the playoffs once and was a first round exit, and then he was fired.
Mike, does Tom Brady become Tom Brady without Bill Belichick?
No, he's even said I was wrong.
Tell you.
No, Mike. Tom Brady isn't responsible for winning 6 Super Bowls over 20 years. It's not all because of Tom Brady. They drafted Tom Brady and they coached up Tom Brady, and they are Bill Belichick's, and he gets all the credit for that shit. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying the guy walks on water, but the guy can lead a football team. He can command everyone around him. And that's what has to happen, and it's not happening here. He didn't have to. He didn't have to be great at drafting. He could take average players and coach them up. We'll go outside of football. Let's go to Bobby Knight.
Well, yeah.
How many Hall of Famers did he have?
Isaiah Thomas.
1, but he just coached them up.
And he won 3 national championships.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But who was in charge of Indiana basketball?
Bob Knight.
Bob Knight. No questions asked. Everyone knew it. You know what I mean? He was the general. So You got to have leadership in there. We have no leadership. I'm sorry, but these NFL football players, they ain't listening to Andrew Berry. They're not. He's not getting their attention.
But my point with the offensive and Andrew Berry drafting offensive players and stuff, obviously he's consulting with who? The offensive coordinator / head coach of the football team.
And Paul DePodesta.
Yeah. And they're drafting these guys that, Mike Woods, Anthony Schwartz, David Bell, Cedric Tillman, Jerome Ford, like these guys, there's so many second round, third round wide receivers they've selected that have panned out to be nothing.
They have never selected a wide receiver in the second round
or third round. So
Mike Woods was a 5th round pick.
Okay.
Cedric Tillman was a 3rd round pick, and Anthony Schwartz was a 3rd round pick.
Okay.
I remember the Fiats all came on one time.
Why are they not prioritizing the offensive side of the ball at all?
Because our defensive unit was one of the worst for 3 years running.
So now your offense is one of the worst. So now what? You still have to draft for the future. You still have to build depth on your team overall. You can't just be like, you know what, our defenses suck, so I'm going to completely forget about the offensive side of the ball, because guess what's going to happen? Your offensive side of the ball is going to suck.
Well, and if you're striking out on that many guys, I mean, at some point, it's kind of like, man, where's the development at? I mean, you can't just. There are plenty of organizations draft guys that are later round picks. They don't have to be superstars, but they're role players. They're decent players. They give value to your team on Sunday. We don't have that right now.
Well, here, look at from Joe Woods to Schwartz. It's basically
exactly.
the coach.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that we said were scrubs when Joe Woods was there.
Detroit drafted St. Brown after Anthony Schwartz. The Browns drafted Anthony Schwartz.
No, I'm talking about our defensive coordinator.
But what Amon St. Brown, Chris, do you think he'd be the same player if he got drafted to Cleveland?
What he got? No.
I'm asking you. I said, do you think where he got drafted played a big part of him becoming the player he became today?
If it were another team other than just as bad of a organization that has been just as bad as the Browns, which is Detroit. I mean, I can't say that the reason why
was Dan Cable there already?
Well, he was entering that same year, yeah. But my point is it's still a culture that has been terrible for many, 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 many years before that.
But
it's not like it just.
Look how fast you can change it.
Well, I agree. Oh, I totally agree. I think
that's what I'm saying. If Amon St. Brown got drafted by the Browns back then rather than the Lions that draft, do you think he'd be the same guy today? Probably not.
I mean, yeah, you can't say either one.
It'd be talent just wasted.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. Again, I didn't want to veer off into the Andrew Berry world, because I think that this depth thing that on the offensive line is definitely just as much him to blame as anyone else. I mean, you can't have a line playing like they're playing right now and look to anyone other than the front office and say, how could it be so bad? You mean you can't pick up anyone better than this? Because it's horrible. But as far as this year goes, I mean, here, what you got? Washington, at Philly, the next 2 games. And then, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you have Kansas City in there somewhere. The Chargers in there. Okay, so the Chargers in there somewhere, right?
In November. It goes Commanders, Philly, Bengals, Ravens, Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, how can you honestly say? I mean, other than the Bengals at home, I mean, who could you look? Yeah, you got the Ravens.
I take us against Miami and Cleveland in cold weather just because it's Miami.
Well, I'm saying in the next 5 games you
I
have
got you. Yeah,
at Commanders, at Eagles,
right.
Bengals at home, Ravens at home, Chargers at home.
I mean, maybe the Bengals at home, because I don't think the Bengals are that great. Honestly, I don't think.
I mean, you could very well be staring at
1-4.
Well, not 1-4. I'm talking about 2-8.
Oh,
or 2.
Well, I'm talking about the next
7.
5. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So 2-7 after the Chargers. I mean, that's going into the bye. Very well could be that. That's tough. That's just a tough.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Yeah, I think we drugged this funeral out, a little longer than I probably needed to, but
it's quite the eulogy.
Quite the eulogy. Mike, you got any final words, buddy? You're always, Mike. That's why I love you, Mike. You're always optimistic, and you're the most hopeful Browns fan I know. You got any final words, Mike? You want to tell the viewers about this team or anything?
Like and subscribe. Absolutely. But no, other than that.
Yeah, even Mike ain't got nothing for you guys tonight. That's how bad it is. And Mike's usually optimistic no matter what. We'll go check out what article out tonight, Mike, or tomorrow.
I'll probably have it out tomorrow afternoon.
Roundtablesports.net. Go check them out. Dan says this is a 5-12 ball club if things go well. Derrick Henry's him. Yeah. Chris, you got any last words, bud?
No, I think I've said enough.
Go Lions.
Oh, well, that is tomorrow. So yes.
Go Lions.
Joey, I appreciate you coming on again this week, buddy. You got any closing remarks here?
We're on to Washington.
All right. Enough said. Well, Joe, I appreciate you coming on again. We'll see you the next one, buddy. And I know you're off the ship, so I'll throw you a life raft. How about that?
All right.
All right. I'll see you. Yeah, Chris, appreciate you coming on again. Again,
become a Lions fan, guys.
Yeah, it's heading that way. That's how bad it is. All right, Chris. I'll probably talk to you a little bit then. So.
All right.
All right. See ya. Wait, hold on. I re-added him. Mike, you still there, bud?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Well, yes. Well, you guys I want to end with you two guys because you guys are kind of like my co-host in a way too. So obviously you, Mike. You guys got any last words before we get out of here? Like, subscribe, and share, anything? What do you
like, subscribe, and share because we're going to be covering the NFL and Guardians baseball, maybe with the playoffs approaching in October. So Cleveland fans have that to look forward to. We are the 2nd seed in the American League, and it looks like only the Yankees will be. I will never root for the Buccaneers as long as I live.
Go BUCKS. Go Buckeyes. Yeah.
Oh, go Bucks.
Although I do love Tampa. That's my second home shot, Tampa. And hope
I thought he was talking about Buc-ee's, like that really great gas station that's around like southern states.
Oh yeah.
We need a Buc-ee's up here. Yeah. How about that? That'll be my thing for this.
Or more Casey's.
Buc-ee's,
too.
come to Ohio, bro. Why don't you open a Buc-ee's up here? I want a Buc-ee's. I want a gas station I can go in and go enjoy a delicious brisket. Poor Corey. But yeah,
I want to point something out real quick, Mike. Tampa and a lot of people impacted by that storm this week too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was especially up in Asheville, North Carolina. I know the guys I watched, they're out there taking supply out there. Go check out links. Go to like Corey Gherkin on Facebook, Brandon Kopic, Reed Timmer. They're putting a lot of links out there. People go like donate and help these people. It's some of the worst flooding we've seen in a long, long time,
especially in Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty sad. So I think people as a unit, as a community, we can go help other people in some way. If you just donate $5, it could help. I mean, it's pretty bad flooding. Some of the stuff I've seen. Like I said, they said some of the worst. Asheville, you can only get out by air. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, so, no, it's horrible.
And yeah, but Jersey, any final remarks?
Another happy birthday to my lovely mom. Turned 66
happy birthday,
today.
Grandma.
Happy birthday, Joe's mom.
And you guys want to watch some real football? Come to Cuyahoga Falls Friday night, watch the Hoban Knights. We're going to go into Walsh and take care of biz like we normally do. So
It's gonna be a
it's going to be great
game.
weather finally. It'll be 70s, sunny. Come on out. It's going to be packed. It's a good game of the week. So
Yeah,
go
I'm going
Knights.
to be doing an update soon, guys, on my anxiety journey and then how far I've come. These guys know, all the guys on the panel know personally what I've been through, or how far I've come in the last year. I don't think I've given an update on myself in like a long, long time. But when I do give you guys an update soon, I did something Friday night. It was a special moment for my dad and I. Got to go to the Hoban game, and my mom was there. But I know, Dad, how much it meant to you because how many games we used to go to when I was younger. So it was a great night for our whole family.
Yeah.
But I will be giving an update soon. You guys will be really surprised, probably stunned in some ways compared to when I started this podcast to where I am now. Some of the stuff I've done, but it was great to be at the game. Shout out to the Knights; they are impressive to see in person. Shout out to Tylen. Summit Christian alum. I obviously look out for him and try to help. Always root for him in any way, or always will root for him. And he had a great game. Rock Hill is one of the fastest guys I've ever seen in my life. Brayton Feaster, just remember that name. He's just like Christian McCaffrey 2.0 to me.
Twice the size.
Twice the size. Sam Greer's pancaking people all night. Can't wait to see him in a Buckeye uniform. That's gonna be a scary team to watch down the road. But they got a great team they're playing against this week. So that's gonna be a great matchup. Just a great Northeast style football on Friday night. So trying to check the comments here.
Check it out. A lot of future possible NFL players.
Yeah, I saw plenty of NFL guys all over the field on Friday night. That was something to see, especially that. But one of the best plays I ever saw was a guy opposite corner, a corner on the opposite side of the field, hawking down a guy damn near 60 yards, 70 yards almost rather, to stop a touchdown. That is, and then he's on the sideline at the Alabama game the next day. So that tells you how good he is. On a recruiting visit.
Well, he just got ranked the number one corner in the country for the 2026 class.
Yeah, you could tell.
So, Mike, you should come check him out, bud.
Yeah, Mike.
I may. I haven't been to a high school football game in a very, 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 very long time.
Why don't you come
Mike,
Friday, dude?
No, you know what? Mike's got to come to us to that Falls game, the last one.
Oh yeah,
Mike, you got to. I'll call you about that.
I'll watch my alma mater get blown out, or
yeah, they're playing
last game at Clifford Stadium.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, wow. They are building a new high school, aren't they? I forgot about that.
Yeah, new stadium looks dope too.
Yeah, Hoban's away that week, so we're going to that game.
It's wild. I still can't believe they're actually building a new high school.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
pretty wild. But all right. What did you say? You all should come. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everybody should go out. Support the local, or go support your local team. Let's support your alma mater.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and for all viewers that are new here, here's a question. Leave this in the comment below. What is your favorite Philly cheesesteak? I want to know. I want to know if there's some new good Philly cheesesteaks out there. Do you do the cheese whiz? Do you do Swiss? Do you do steak? Do you do chicken? Leave us a comment below. Let us know your favorite Philly cheesesteak.
Josh said, what the
I just want to know.
He just wants to know. But all right. Well, Dad, you want to tell me like, subscribe, and share? We get up out of here.
Yeah, like always, like, subscribe, share. Not many shows out there as organic as this one, where everybody can just get on and be free to say what they want to say. Don't have a moderator shut them down. So and that's just the sports end of it's just a small glitch. The basis of the show, the mental health and what Joseph was talking about, that's where that's just where the greatest content's at. So again, even if you can't catch it every week, like, subscribe, share. You never know, something that could be said on this show could certainly help someone and change someone's life. So that'd be great.
Yeah, what they said, like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff, and I'll have an update soon on that, my journey. Also keep an eye out the Anxiety Guys channel. We got some stuff cooking over there, so just keep an eye out. Yeah, that's all I got to say for you guys. I got something coming, a video I did for him coming out over there pretty soon, I believe, pretty soon. But go check him out regardless. The Anxiety Guy That's my guy, my brother, Dennis Simsek. Anybody needs any support, looking for some guidance in that area, mental health wise and stuff, go check him out. And yeah, like, subscribe, share all that good stuff. Mike, are you saluting? You guys saluting?
Saluting.
Mike, are you saluting?
Yes, spiritually. You can't see me.
All right. All right. We'll see you guys next one right here.
Yeah.
Bye.